The night was quiet. Cold wind moved slowly across the battlefield of ancient Japan. Broken swords lay on the ground. Fallen warriors were everywhere. In the middle of this silence, one man was still standing. He was not tall. He was not big. His armor was old and scratched, yet no enemy was left alive around him. People later asked one question again and again: how did he survive when everyone else died? This man was a samurai, but he was not like the others. Other warriors trained their muscles. They trained their sword skills. They trained their speed. This samurai trained something else. He trained his mind, and that was the beginning of a method that would later be called Bushido, but not the Bushido people talk about today. This was the forbidden Bushido long ago. Japan was a land of constant war. Villages burned. Kings changed every year. Life had little value. Every day. Young men picked up swords. Most of them were afraid. Some tried to look brave. Very few were truly calm. Fear killed more warriors than swords. A samurai named Hiroshi understood this truth early in his life. He saw strong men freeze in battle. He saw skilled fighters lose control because of anger. He saw brave men run when fear entered their heart. Hiroshi was different. He watched. He listened. He learned. One night, his master said something that changed his life forever. Strength does not come from the body. Weakness also does not live in the body. That night, Hiroshi could not sleep. He kept thinking, if weakness is not in the body, then where is it? Years later, Hiroshi stood before his master again. This time, his master did not give him a sword. He gave him words. If you want to follow the true path, you must destroy weakness inside you. But know this: once you walk this path, you can never return. This path was not taught to everyone. It was dangerous. A man without fear cannot be controlled. A man without weakness cannot be broken. That is why Bushido was hidden. The first lesson of Bushido was simple, but terrifying. Accept death, not later, not in the future. Now Hiroshi was told to sit alone in the forest for 3 days. No food, no weapon, no shelter, only one rule. Imagine your death again and again until fear leaves your heart. At first, Hiroshi's mind screamed, what if animals attack? What if he dies here? What if this is a test he cannot pass? His body shook. His breath became heavy. This was weakness. Bushido did not fight weakness. It exposed it on the second night. Rain fell hard. Hiroshi was cold and tired. His mind began to break. But then something strange happened when he fully accepted death. Fear slowly disappeared. He stopped imagining escape. He stopped hoping for safety. He became calm, and in that calm, something powerful was born. Clarity, Bushido, was not about courage. It was about freedom from fear. When Hiroshi returned, his master looked into his eyes. He saw something different. No anger, no excitement, no fear, only presence. The master said, most men are controlled by hope and fear. Bushido removes both. This was the second forbidden truth. A man who depends on hope becomes weak. A man who fears loss becomes a slave. Bushido made a man independent. Hiroshi trained for years, but his training did not look like normal training. He did not shout. He did not celebrate victories. He did not cry after losses. He learned to act without emotion. When he won, he stayed calm. When he lost, he stayed calm. This confused others. They thought he had no heart. They were wrong. He had full control over it. Soon, people noticed something strange. Hiroshi never rushed. He never panicked. He never hesitated. In battle, others reacted. Hiroshi responded. There is a big difference. Reaction comes from emotion. Response comes from discipline. Bushido trained response. Word spread quickly. They said Hiroshi was fearless. They said he could not be broken. They said death followed him like a shadow. But Hiroshi knew the truth. He was not fearless. He had simply removed fear's power. Fear knocked on his door. He did not open it one day. A powerful enemy challenged Hiroshi. This enemy was bigger, stronger, more experienced. Everyone believed Hiroshi would die before the fight. Hiroshi sat quietly. He did not pray for victory. He did not think about survival. He only remembered Bushido. Do your duty. Accept the result. When the fight began, something shocking happened. The stronger enemy hesitated. Hiroshi did not in that moment. The fight was already decided. Later, people asked Hiroshi, "How are you so strong?" He answered with one line, "I killed weakness before it killed me." That was Bushido, not a fighting style, not a sword technique, a way to live. But this power scared leaders. A man who cannot be scared cannot be ruled. Slowly, Bushido was hidden. Its real lessons were removed. Only surface rules remained. Honor, respect, loyalty. The dangerous part was buried yet. The forbidden method never disappeared. It waited because weakness still exists. Fear still controls people. Comfort still destroys discipline. And Bushido was created 4 times like these. After Hiroshi defeated the powerful enemy, his name spread across Japan. People called him strong. Some called him lucky. Others called him dangerous. But Hiroshi knew the truth. What made him different was not strength. It was discipline. His master once said, "Strength can be stolen. Discipline cannot." Bushido was not finished teaching Hiroshi. The first lesson removed fear. The next lessons would remove weak habits, and weak habits were more dangerous than weak muscles. One morning, Hiroshi was told to stop training with the sword. No fighting, no sparring, no battles, only daily life. This confused him. His master explained, "A weak man is not weak in battle. He is weak in daily life." Bushido did not begin on the battlefield. It began when no one was watching. The second rule of Bushido was cruel. Control the self before trying to control the world. Hiroshi had to wake up before sunrise every day. Not because it was hard, but because it was uncomfortable. Comfort was the enemy. If a man obeys comfort, he will run when life becomes difficult. Bushido trained men to walk toward difficulty. Hiroshi learned to eat less, sleep less, speak less, not to punish himself, but to master desire. Desire makes men weak. It tells them, "Do it tomorrow, rest a little more. You deserve comfort." Bushido said, "Do it now," at first. Hiroshi failed many times. Some mornings, his body begged him to stay in bed. Some nights, his mind wanted easy pleasure. Every time he failed, his master said nothing. No punishment. No anger, only silence. That silence was painful. It forced Hiroshi to face himself. The third rule of Bushido was revealed. Slowly, never lie to yourself. Many men lie every day, they say. I will change tomorrow. I had no choice. I am trying my best. Bushido called these lies poison. A man who lies to himself cannot grow. Hiroshi was taught to see his weakness clearly. No excuses. No stories, only truth. One day, Hiroshi asked, "Why is Bushido so hard?" His master answered, "Because weakness loves easy paths." Bushido was not designed to make life comfortable. It was designed to make men reliable. A reliable man shows up every day, even when he feels nothing. Especially when he feels nothing. Years passed. Hiroshi became quieter, calmer, sharper. People noticed he rarely spoke about himself. Bushido had another rule: let actions speak. Talking wastes energy. Complaining spreads weakness. Strong men move silently. During one mission, Hiroshi's group was ambushed. Chaos erupted. Some warriors panicked. Some shouted orders. Some froze. Hiroshi did not raise his voice. He observed. He moved. He acted. Bushido trained him for this moment. When emotions rise, discipline must take control. Later that night, a young warrior asked Hiroshi, "Were you not afraid?" Hiroshi replied, "Fear is natural. Obedience to fear is a choice." Bushido did not remove fear completely. It removed fear's authority. The fourth rule was taught through pain. Endure without complaint, not because pain is good, but because complaining weakens the mind. Pain passes. Complaining stays. It becomes a habit. Bushido destroyed this habit early. Hiroshi learned that suffering in silence builds inner strength, not silence to hide pain, but silence to stay focused. Weak men look for sympathy. Strong men look for solutions. Over time, Hiroshi realized something important. Bushido was changing him in ways he never expected. He no longer needed motivation. He no longer waited for mood. He acted because it was his duty. Duty was freedom. One evening, Hiroshi's master finally spoke about the danger of Bushido. He said, "This path will separate you from others. Friends would not understand. Family would feel distant. Bushido does not fit into normal life. It demands more." Many students quit at this stage. They wanted strength without sacrifice, but Bushido does not negotiate. Hiroshi stayed. He accepted loneliness. The final lesson of this phase was clear: do not seek praise. Praise creates dependence. Dependence creates weakness. A Bushido warrior moves forward without needing approval. Hiroshi understood now why Bushido was hidden. A man like this cannot be manipulated. He cannot be bribed. He cannot be scared. He cannot be distracted. Such men are dangerous to weak systems. As Hiroshi stood alone one night, he realized Bushido was no longer training him. It had rebuilt him. But the greatest test was still coming, because mastering the self was only the beginning. Hiroshi thought he understood Bushido. He had removed fear. He had disciplined his habits. He had learned silence, control, and endurance. But Bushido was not finished with him. In fact, it was only preparing him for its most dangerous lesson. One evening, his master called him alone. No training ground, no weapons, no witnesses, only words. The master said quietly, "What I teach you now will make you powerful, or completely alone." Hiroshi listened carefully. The master asked a simple question: "Why do men obey others?" Hiroshi answered, "Because they are weaker." The master shook his head. No, men obey because they want safety. This truth hit Hiroshi deeply. Most men want comfort. They want approval. They want protection. Bushido takes all of this away. The next rule was revealed. A Bushido warrior does not belong to anyone, not to kings, not to crowds, not even to his own emotions. This rule was dangerous. Loyalty without thought creates slaves. Bushido demanded loyalty to principles, not people. Hiroshi was sent on a mission to test this rule. A local lord ordered his group to attack a village suspected of betrayal. The order was clear. No questions. Many warriors followed orders blindly. Hiroshi did not move. He observed. Children were playing. Old men were working. There was no threat. Bushido spoke inside him. Do what is right, not what is easy. This was the true test. Obey authority or obey Bushid. Who Hiroshi refused the order. Not loudly, not angrily, not calmly. The Lord was furious. A warrior who does not obey is dangerous. Hiroshi was punished. He was isolated. He was watched. He was labeled a problem. But something strange happened. Others began to question. Orders to Bushido spread silently. The master later explained. A man who thinks for himself cannot be controlled. Bushido did not remove authority, it removed blind obedience. Another truth was revealed. Accept consequences without regret. Hiroshi knew refusing the order could cost him his life. He accepted it fully. This made him free. Fear only works when a man wants to escape. Consequences. Bushido removes escape. Hiroshi began to understand why Bushido was hidden, why only few were chosen. It creates men who cannot be threatened. A man who accepts loss cannot be bribed. A man who accepts death cannot be scared. Soon, Hiroshi faced betrayal. A fellow warrior reported him to higher authorities. The accusation was simple: disobedience. Hiroshi did not defend himself. He did not explain. Bushido does not beg. During his trial, leaders asked, "Do you regret your actions?" Hiroshi answered, "No." The room fell silent. They expected fear. They expected excuses. They saw none. The leaders realized something terrifying. This man could not be broken, not with pain, not with shame, not with loss. Bushido had done its work. Instead of execution, they sent Hiroshi away. Exiled isolation was safer than influence. Hiroshi walked alone into the mountains. No followers, no praise, no protection, only Bushido. This was another lesson: stand alone if needed. Weak men follow crowds. Strong men follow truth. Years passed. Hiroshi lived simply. He trained. He observed. He waited. Bushido taught patience. Power does not rush. One day, chaos returned. War broke out again. The same leaders who exiled Hiroshi now needed him. They came quietly. Pride was swallowed by fear. Hiroshi listened. He did not celebrate. Bushid does not enjoy revenge. He agreed to help, not for leaders, not for reward, for duty in battle. Hiroshi was unstoppable, not because of strength, because of clarity. Others fought to survive. Hiroshi fought to finish. After victory, leaders offered him honor, titles, land, power. Hiroshi refused. Power that depends on others is weakness. Bushido had taught him this long ago. That night, Hiroshi sat alone. He finally understood the deepest truth of Bushido. The strongest man is the one who needs nothing. No approval, no comfort, no permission. This was why Bushido was dangerous. It does not create followers. It creates men who walk their own path. But this path is not for everyone. Most people prefer safety. They prefer rules. They prefer comfort. Bushido demands responsibility. As Hiroshi looked at the stars, he knew one thing. Bushido did not destroy enemies. It destroyed dependence. And once dependence is gone, weakness has nowhere to hide. Hiroshi had become something rare, not a hero, not a rebel, but a man who could not be controlled. This scared people in power. Kings do not fear swords. They fear men who think. Bushido created such men, and that was the problem. Long ago, rulers understood one truth. A weak man is easy to rule. A fearful man is easy to guide. A comfort-loving man is easy to distract. Bushido destroyed all three. That is why it had to disappear. After the wars, Japan wanted peace, but peace does not come easily. People were tired. They wanted safety, not strength. Bushido was too heavy for tired hearts, so leaders changed it. Slowly, quietly, they removed the dangerous parts. No more questioning authority, accepting death, standing alone. What remained looked beautiful. But weak honor became manners. Discipline became rules. Loyalty became obedience. Bushido was turned into a story. Hiroshi watched this change from a distance. He saw young warriors train for appearance. They spoke loudly about honor. They showed anger and pride. But when tested, they broke. Bushido without pain creates soft men. One evening, Hiroshi spoke to a young student. The student asked, "Why are warriors weaker now?" Hiroshi answered, "Because Bushido became comfortable." Comfort is silent poison. It makes men slow. It makes them careless. It makes them dependent. Soon, schools began teaching a safe Bushido, no fear training, no self-destruction of ego, no isolation, only words. And words cannot build warriors. Leaders smiled. This version of Bushido was harmless. It created followers, not thinkers. Soldiers, not men. Control returned. Hiroshi understood. Now Bushido was never meant for crowds. It was meant for individuals, men who choose responsibility over comfort. But something else happened as Bushido weakened. Society changed. People avoided pain. They avoided truth. They avoided discipline. Weakness spread quietly. Hiroshi saw fear return. Fear of failure. Fear of judgment. Fear of loss. Men no longer faced life directly. They hid behind rules and excuses. One night, Hiroshi remembered his master's words. When discipline disappears, chaos arrives slowly. And chaos did arrive. Not with war, but with confusion. People were busy, but not effective. Connected, but not strong. Busy minds. Weak spirits. Bushido could have saved them, but only if they accepted its price. Most did not. Years later, Hiroshi was old. His body was weaker. His spirit was not. A student found him one day and asked a final question. Can Bushido return? Hiroshi smiled. Bushido never left. Men left Bushido. The method was still there, hidden, Waiting, Bushido does not shout. It waits for those who are tired of weakness, those who are tired of excuses, Hiroshi explained. Bushido returns in times of decline, when comfort creates decay, when fear controls decisions. The world had changed. Swords were gone. Battles were different, but weakness remained the same. Bushido was not about Japan. It was about human nature, and human nature never changes. That night, Hiroshi wrote nothing. He left no book, no rules, because Bushido cannot be read. It must be lived. As dawn arrived, Hiroshi disappeared, not as a legend, but as a reminder that strength was once normal, that discipline was once respected, that men once stood firm without needing approval. Bushido was hidden because it was too powerful, not for enemies, but for systems built on weakness. And now, the final truth remained. If Bushido returned fully, most people would reject it, because it asks one question: are you ready to destroy your weakness? Time changed everything. Swords disappeared. Battlefields became offices, streets, and homes. But one thing never changed: weakness. Hiroshi understood this long ago, before he disappeared. He left behind a simple truth: the enemy changes. Weakness does not. Bushido was never about war. It was about life in the modern world. People do not fight with blades. They fight with fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of being alone most. People lose these battles silently. They look strong outside. They feel weak inside. Bushido speaks to these silent battles, not loudly, not gently. Honestly, the first modern rule of Bushido is clear. Take responsibility. No blaming parents. No blaming society. No blaming luck. A Bushido man says, "This is my life. I am responsible." This alone destroys half of weakness. The second rule returns. Do difficult things daily, not because it feels good, but because it builds control. Waking up early, keeping promises, training when tired. Comfort is the modern enemy. Bushido fights comfort. The third rule remains. Dangerous act without needing motivation. Motivation is unstable. Discipline is permanent. Weak men wait to feel ready. Bushido men move. Anyway, Hiroshi's lesson lives on. Modern warriors do not wait for perfect conditions. They create strength in imperfect moments. The fourth rule returns. Silently. Control emotions. Do not be controlled by them. Anger ruins judgment. Fear delays action. Pleasure weakens discipline. Bushido does not remove emotion, it removes emotions. Control. The fifth rule is painful. Stand alone if needed. Modern people fear loneliness. Bushido accepts it. Truth is often lonely. Discipline is often lonely. But weakness loves company. The final rule is the hardest. Do what is right, even when it costs you, not for praise, not for reward, because your character depends on it. Bushido builds inner respect, the kind that cannot be taken away. In modern life, no one will call you a warrior. No medals, no applause. That is the test. Bushido works in silence. Most people will not follow this path. They will call it extreme. They will call it outdated. Bushido does not argue. It waits. Those who feel tired of weakness will hear it. Those who are tired of excuses will understand it. Hiroshi's story ends here, but Bushido's story does not. It begins every time someone chooses discipline over strength, responsibility over comfort, truth over approval. The forbidden Japanese method was never truly forbidden. It was rejected because it asks too much. As the narrator ends the story, one question remains. If Bushido returned fully today, would you be ready to destroy your weakness?